This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
10:05 in the neighborhood. Welcome back. This is 9 to noon.
Vikings
take on the Cincinnati Bengals from the old AFC North this Sunday at noon right here on KFAN and the Minnesota Vikings audio network. Now, you know, the last two against the Bengals, the Purple has been daggered by the Gator in overtime, Evan McPherson. First, there was the opener in 21.
The Bengals field goal unit is lined up and ready to go. A 33-yard try to win the game for Evan McPherson. Fifth-round draft pick rookie out of Florida. Clark Harris, 13th-year pro, will snap it back to Kevin Huber, 13th-year pro. The snap, the put down, the swing of the leg, the kick, on its way.
Boom!
It is good!
Nice!
The Bengals win it on the final play of overtime. Evan McPherson hoisted onto the shoulders of his teammates as Cincinnati pulls it out, 27-24.
Then 2 seasons ago, former Viking Jake Browning beat the Purple and Gold. And right at the wire, 2023, so did this guy.
This will be from 29 yards away, from straightaway, shorter than an extra point. Looking for the 7th walk-off field goal of his NFL career and his second in a span of 3 weeks. Robbins ready to hold. The snap, the placement, the right-footed kick.
Oh, yeah.
It is good.
Oh, yeah, baby.
And the Bengals are still alive in the playoff hunt as they rally from a 14-point deficit in the fourth quarter and beat the Minnesota Vikings in overtime, 27-24.
On the call, Dan Hoard,
Fox.
decade and one-half Cincinnati Bengals play-by-play voice, also calls Cincinnati Bearcats football and basketball, and he joins us now. Dan, good chatting with you. Good start to the season for your Cincinnati Bengals, and good morning.
PA, good morning to you. Certainly a good start in terms of the record, but we are all still in shock here about the Joe Burrow injury, hoping that he'll be back in December and that the team can stay afloat with Jake Browning at QB.
What and off that, how hard did the Joe Burrow news hit you, and how hard did it hit the fan base?
As hard as it could possibly hit,
right,
for obvious reasons. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, but furthermore, This was the first time in his NFL career that he went through a normal training camp. He wasn't coming back from an injury. He didn't get hurt during training camp. There was no COVID messing things up, so he looked great in camp. He said he had never thrown the ball better. They scored 4 touchdowns on 5 preseason possessions while he was out there. And in game 2, on a relatively nothing-type play, he suffers a turf toe injury that's going to keep him out in all likelihood for somewhere in the vicinity of 3 months.
Hey, Dan, I don't know in the short amount of time former Viking Dalton Reisner has been with the Bengals. And he started last game, okay? And the reason I bring it up is I got to know Dalton quite well when he was here. And he is just a very emotional, vulnerable, he's a wonderful, wonderful man, okay? And the reason I bring it up is because, you know, I saw him slip and I saw the Jaguar slip, but it was the Jaguar, I think 91, who got on that toe and messed up that toe. And from what I understand, Dalton's taking it really hard because, like, you know, he slipped and then the guy got through and there goes Joe. So do you know Dalton and do you know anything about him yet? Because he's a nice guy.
Yeah, I've spent quite a bit of time talking to him since he joined the team, and you're right. He's awesome. I am the president of the Dalton Reisner fan club since he joined the Bengals, and by and large, he's done really well under tough circumstances. No OTAs, no training camp, 2 padded practices before he gets thrown in there on opening day due to an injury, 16 snaps into the starting right guard, Lucas Patrick. And again, he's played pretty well. On that play, Eric Armstead is a monster. He's 6'7", 290. He beat Dalton. He wasn't the only guy that got beat on the play. It was kind of, you know, everybody closing in on Joe Burrow, unfortunately. But you're right. Dalton Reisner on Monday said he had a hard time getting to sleep. He knew he got beat on the play. You know, who knows if if his man ultimately was responsible for the injury. But in any case, shoot, it's the NFL. Dude's got a lot of experience under his belt, 6 NFL seasons under his belt. So you got to process it and move on, and I imagine he'll be able to by Sunday.
Awesome. Dan, outside of the Vikings and Bengals and the NFL covenant, your jobs, how frequently are all three going? Dan's the play-by-play voice of the Cincinnati Bengals, then collegiately, Bearcats football and basketball. How frequently are all three going, and how do you handle it?
It's about a month-long stretch where all three are going at the same time, and I love it. I'm so lucky to be able to do both.
Amen.
I refer to it as my own version of the Amazing Race, because I've got to figure out how to get from point A to point B in time to do all three sports when they're going on simultaneously. And honestly, there will be a game or two that is just physically impossible to make. And when that's the case, the University of Cincinnati is very gracious, and they allow somebody to fill in. But it's really fun, especially when all of the teams are good. Back in 2021, when the Bengals went to the Super Bowl and unfortunately lost to the Rams, the University of Cincinnati made the 4-team college football playoff that year.
Right.
And unfortunately, they lost to Alabama. But what a year I had, and my wife and son had, going to those games, having the college team and the NFL team both come very close to winning national championships or a Super Bowl title.
Well, that's a blessing. What do you remember about Ivan Pace Jr. when he played for the Bearcats?
2 things. So he transferred to Cincinnati from Miami of Ohio, which is about 40 miles away. And his brother, Deshaun, was already on the University of Cincinnati roster. And Deshaun was a very good player, but Ivan came in with no fanfare. And in spring football, his first year, they didn't really quite know how to use him. He was lining up as an edge rusher. They were trying to figure out how to maximize his ability. Then they put him at middle linebacker, and suddenly it was like, whoa, this dude is all over the place. He's blowing up Cincinnati's attempts to run an offense. I think we found something here. So that was the initial impression. And then the next year, I think he should have been the National Defensive Player of the Year in college football. I mean, he was the American Athletic Conference Defensive Player of the Year. It's hard to win the ultimate prize when you're playing in that league, but he was top 10 in the country in tackles for loss, and sacks as a linebacker. He carried Cincinnati defensively that year. So I can't even tell you how stunned I was that no NFL team drafted him. And fortunately for the Vikings, they wisely signed him as an undrafted free agent. And look what they have now.
Hey, how long have you called Bearcats football?
This will be my 26th year.
Oh, covenant collapse for that, brother. Well done. And the reason I ask is because, I'll never forget when Eric Wilson, undrafted, joined Mike Zimmer's Vikings. Yep. Didn't play much, but when somebody got hurt, well, he played a lot on special teams, but like a linebacker would get hurt, Wilson would come in, sack and a half. Okay, then he doesn't play 2 weeks. Comes in. Forced. He always did something big when he got an opportunity. Same thing happened last game, where he, with the peanut punch, he forced a fumble in the game against the Falcons. So, what, if anything, do you remember about undrafted Eric Wilson when he was a Bearcat?
Kind of a similar set of circumstances, PA. He came to Cincinnati as a transfer from Northwestern, little bit undersized, but he had great speed, stood out on special teams initially, and then once he got his chance at linebacker, he was one of the best defensive players on the team. So I guess I'm a little bit surprised by how long and productive his NFL career has been. Right. But I'm not surprised that he's had an impact, because it looked almost exactly the same way at the University of Cincinnati as it's looked with the Vikings.
To the lesson at hand for a few to finish with Dan Hoard. He's the longtime play-by-play voice of the Cincinnati Bengals and University of Cincinnati Bearcats football and basketball.
Fox.
Jake Browning 4-3 in 2023, including that OT win over the Vikes. With Jake, he and I remember when he was here, kind of a loosey-goosey kind of guy. He seems to play quite freely when he gets a chance. Sometimes maybe a little too freely, but it doesn't seem like the moment's too big for him. Is that fair?
Bingo. That's a great description of Jake Browning. He has really uncommon confidence for somebody who's had so few starts in the NFL. He goes out there as a gunslinger, and he doesn't have Brett Favre's arm or his ability to scramble, but that's kind of the playing style. And last week's game was a good example of it. 3 interceptions, didn't faze him at all, gets the ball with less than 4 minutes to go at his own 8, leads the team on a 15-play, 92-yard touchdown drive to win the game with 18 seconds to go. So he was really impressive in that 7-game stint 2 years ago, including the win over the Vikings. I think the hope is he can do something similar, win maybe a little more than half of the games that he starts. And again, if he can do that with a 2-0 buffer going into it, and Joe Burrow can come back in December, who knows how this thing could turn out.
Okay, so what chance do you give your squad to win the super tough AFC North, given no Joe until maybe right at the end? What chance from 2-0, which is cool?
Yeah, I think they're always going to be an underdog to Baltimore, even if Joe stayed healthy this year, just because I think the Ravens are that good. They didn't lose much off last year's team. They were undoubtedly one of the best teams in the NFL, and that Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry combo is lethal. So I think realistically, you're trying to be the second team that comes out of the AFC North. I mean, things can happen to Baltimore too, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
The most likely scenario is that you try to be the second team that comes out of the AFC North and makes the playoffs. And again, if Joe Burrow comes back and they do that, and he looks like the Joe Burrow that he looked like before the toe injury, then I'd give the Bengals a chance against anybody.
Hey, last one here, Dan. What kind of coverage does Jamar Chase generally see on a weekly basis?
It's rarely one-on-one. I'm sure it's the same for Justin Jefferson. It doesn't seem to matter. I mean, those two guys, to me, are far and above everybody else in the NFL. It's amazing they were teammates in 2019 with Joe Burrow at LSU. I mean, what a combo that was. But teams aren't dumb. They know that's the number one thing they have to try to take away from Cincinnati. And even though they bracket them and double team them and do everything else that NFL teams try to do to take wide receivers away, he finds a way to beat it, and they find a way to get him the ball. So no matter what the Vikings try to do this week, I'm sure Jamar is going to get his.
And correct me if I'm wrong here, but, you know, in starting the prep for the game calling depth chart and just, you know, getting the colleges and the years and the equity and stuff like that down, I could tell early in the week. I mean, I know you got a rookie from Georgia on the offensive line. So there is some youth on the offensive line. However, what a veteran-laden team. I mean, you know, from Logan Wilson and Trey Hendrickson and just so on, but offensively, with Zach Taylor, who I've just kind of been a fan of his from afar with the way he operates. But it's such a veteran-laden team that, like, even when somebody like Browning steps in there, he's seen it so long, and he's done it 7 times starting. But I would imagine it makes it easier to succeed when you have veterans who have been together with the same coach as long as they have. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's true. It's a good mix of veterans and youth. They've drafted a lot of young guys on defense over the last 3 or 4 years that are getting their opportunity this year. So there are probably more vets that they rely on the offensive side of the ball than the defensive side of the ball. But I do think they have a good mix. And they've also got continuity, particularly on the offensive side of the ball and the offensive coaching staff. Zach's been calling plays for 7 years.
Yeah.
Dan Pitcher's been the offensive coordinator for a couple, but he's been on the staff the entire time. Yep. The wide receivers coach has been here the entire time. The offensive line coach is new, but most of the other guys on the offensive side of the ball have been here just about the entire time that Zach's been the head coach.
Let me sneak this one in, then we'll say goodbye. What are some big differences preparing and calling college football games compared to the NFL?
The biggest thing is the sheer number of guys that could possibly get into a game in any given week. So Cincinnati's most recent game was against Northwestern State from Louisiana. The final score was 70-0. Imagine how many guys got into the game. Right. I mean, Cincinnati had about 100 guys that were suited up for that game. By the second half, they're all in there. That can't happen in an NFL game. You got 53 that, you prepare for and worry about. So to me, that's the single biggest difference. When a game gets lopsided, you better have a lot of guys written down on your spotting board because they're all going to get in if it gets ugly.
Hey, man, look forward to seeing you this weekend. Safe travels. I know the Bearcats are off this week, so you can come up for air with the travel and everything. And we'll talk soon, okay?
Sounds good. Thanks for having me on.
Yep. See you, bud. Dan Hoard. He is the play-by-play voice for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Fox.
Decade and a half with that. 2.5 decades with the Cincinnati Bearcats on the lead vocals for football. That's cool. Speaking of cool, it's media day for the Minnesota Wild. They have a preseason game against St. Louis, I believe, a week from tomorrow. So the puck's about ready to drop on that whole thing. And Brock Faber, one of the better blue liners in the National Hockey League, we have learned is going to join us within the next 5 to 10 minutes. And we thank Aaron Sickman and Wild PR for the aid on that. So if we get an opportunity to talk to Faber, we absolutely say yes every time. And guess what? It takes place next.
The Fan.
Sweet little surprise here out of nowhere. As we mentioned, the Minnesota Wild have Media Day today. And joining us now is stud blue liner Brock Faber. Brock, Paul Allen, how you been?
Good. How are you?
All right, man. Thanks for the time, too. Are you itching to go? I mean, I know you have a preseason game against St. Louis, I think a week from Thursday. And, nevertheless, whether you play or whether you don't play, how much you play, how little you play, it starts, training camp, all that. Are you itching to go at this stage of the equation, or do you just take it as it comes?
Yeah, no, it's definitely itching to go here. It's been a long summer. It's you get to about start of August and you're sick of golfing, you're sick of just kind of skills training. You're ready to kind of ramp it back up into real game situations, and that's what we got here shortly. So it's exciting, and we're all very excited.
What so when it comes to skills training, and you have a lot of time to do it. So therefore, that's one thing about the season that of course but I think others know too, is sometimes there's so little practice time that you can have to tighten things up because you got so many games, but that's not the case when a season ends. So with skills training, what do you work on?
Yeah, just a bunch of different things, obviously, different skating stuff, trying to get faster, more agile, things like that. And a lot of shooting of the puck, a lot of stuff on the backhand, a lot of little stuff that kind of go unnoticed in a game, but obviously you need to work on. So there's a bunch of stuff in small area games. We play, little games that obviously get competitive, but games where you don't have much time or much room to think or to make plays. So trying to make little plays and, get your mind stimulated as quick as you can. So, there's a lot that goes into it, obviously. So yeah, we're excited to get into the real real stuff here. All
right. Now, this may seem like a weird question, but Brock just turned 23 years of age about 3 weeks to a month ago. And I bring it up because Vikings quarterback J.J. McCarthy just turned 22 6-7 months ago. And seeing him and some others over a lot of time, that when they're 21, 22, 23, I just become amazed sometimes when like organized team activities start and I'm like, wow, holy cow. My man worked out, but he also grew. And so that is that, not trying to be surrogate uncle here or anything, but is that happening with you where your body's still continuing to develop and grow? You're a stud on the ice, man, but sometimes people forget truly how young you are.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely change still going on here. I like to think at least. But yeah, no, it's definitely just looking like from a year or two ago, kind of the overall build versus now. You train all summer and you obviously feel results. And the way we train, it's not really, it's more the lower body. So you don't really, you can't really pick them out if you see them or other people. But I don't know. It's I like to think I'm still getting bigger and stronger. I definitely did this summer. So trying to maintain that weight, that muscle mass throughout the year. Obviously, it's a long 82 games is a lot of games, and there's a lot of travel. So, it's good to get as big and strong as you can in the summer, as fast as you can to like I said, try and maintain that throughout the long season.
You'd play the whole game if they let you, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Well, and the reason I bring it up is now it was circumstantial. And again, you're really good at what you do. But with the postseason and the end of the regular season, I mean, the minutes you were playing in those games sometimes, it was unbelievable. You're not going to complain about it because that's the lesson at hand. And I would imagine you probably got a little fatigued sometimes when it was game after game after game after game, but you're not going to complain about that. But you just love big minutes, don't you?
I do. Yeah. It's, I feel like it gets me into the game. I'm able to, obviously everyone wants to play more, right? It's, you want to try and make an impact as best you can. Me being myself, I obviously hold myself to a high standard and, I like to think that I can affect the game, more positively the more I'm on the ice. So, obviously with that comes fatigue but that's with everyone. That's with every sport. That's with everything. So, I definitely enjoy playing minutes, important minutes. And, it's kind of just who I am, I guess.
And just consider Z Boyum. All right. And you close to his age. And then you got the cap, you got Spurgeon and you got Brodin and others, obviously, but he has such a different group of defensemen from which he can pull knowledge. And, he's going to grow too, and he's going to improve too, but he's in a very advantageous situation, if he asks questions and just is patient, right?
100%. He's, he's one of those guys too. You look at him and you're like, he's how old? Because he has that it factor. He wins at every level. I think me, Brodin, and Spurgeon, learn from him as much as he learns from us. I feel like he's extremely talented and he's a great person, carries himself the right way, holds himself accountable, holds himself to a high standard. And, he's got skill for days. He skates unbelievably. It'll be very, very fun, and very, very good for us to have him on our side this year. And, obviously there's going to be growing pains. Everyone has them. There's going to be tough nights. There's going to be tough stretches. That's with everything. He's a young kid. He could still be in college for 2 more years if he wanted to. So, but he's ready, and it's going to be exciting to see. He's really that good.
All right, last one here, and I'm not here to bang on the team or anything, but I mean, it is known that, it's widely known the team hasn't won a playoff series in a decade. And the reason I bring that up is because you were playing in high school, following the squad in the league. Then you're a gopher, you're following the whole thing, and now you're here. You just, I don't know you that well outside of stuff like this, but you seem like the kind that's going to bug you. Is like losing in the playoffs. Yes, it's going to bug you, but like if you hear, wow, haven't won a playoff series in a decade, does that eat at you? And obviously you want to give everything you have to help it stop.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks, right? It's like, you dedicate your whole life to one thing, and that's winning a Stanley Cup, and when you don't do it, it's a failure every year. So that's just part of it. It's, fans are obviously, they have the right to be upset over it. It's, they want to win as much as we do. So, yeah, I mean, it's, you look at a year and all the ups and downs and injuries you go through and the blood, sweat, and tears just to make it into the playoffs. And then once the playoffs start, it's like, it's a whole new season basically. And, you have to be both mentally and physically as ready as you can be to get hot at the right time. And that's something that we obviously haven't done. And that's up to us. We're the ones on the ice. We're the ones playing in the series. We're the ones going through all that. And we're the ones who have to get better in order to take that next step. So it obviously starts as soon as the season ends, and you're training over the summer and coming back ready to go, and then camp starting here and preparing for that grind of a long season to put yourself in a spot to make the playoffs. And then once you get there, mentally resetting and understanding that we've made this mistake so many times. What do we need to do differently?
Right.
Game in, game out, night in, night out to, like I said, take that next step. So, it's exciting, right? It's like it stings for a long time. And then as soon as you kind of get over that, it's like, man, you just want to be playing hockey again and you want to be winning. That's the only thing that matters here. And that's the only thing that anyone cares about here. And if you don't do that, it's a failure. So, yeah, I mean, the pressure is awesome. It's fun. Obviously, we want to bring the thing home as much as anyone. And, that's what we're training to do.
That was a spectacular answer. And I love when you said the pressure is awesome. I mean, I know what you mean, and it is. But you don't hear it that way frequently. All right, to close, I promise. You have 7 years left on your deal. Here, how many of those years do you think you'll play with Kaprizov?
All 7 of them.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, all 7 of them.
And I can hear the smile on your face because there's going to be no follow-up. You know that you probably got peppered with it this morning, maybe in a different way. And you also know God has a way of taking care of it, and that's just how it's going to work, and we'll move on. So I think
it'll be all right.
You're fantastic, man. Thank you very much. Stay healthy, and we'll chat down the road, okay?
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
See ya. Brock Faber, Blue Liner. Thank you, Sicky, for the Minnesota Wild. It's 10:36, and 9 to noon returns around the corner with, we got a potpourri of stuff coming up around the corner. Alan Roach, the Vox of all Voxes ever to Vox, U.S. Bank Stadium. He's the number 11, Carson Wentz, Vox of all Voxes ever to Vox. He's part of the potpourri with the prep. Because I have an interesting public address announcer story that I would like to share with Alan Roach.
Oh,
and I might pop the con with it first just to see what he thinks. And there's just so much, it's unbelievable, so much. So you know what? Let's pause,
collect ourselves,
and step back, take a look and listen, and collect ourselves. And
I love hearing Brock do interviews, by the way.
Me too.
Just as a small aside, like, not only great player,
yeah,
and he's you can't take him off the ice. He averaged like 25 a game, had games where he's playing like 34 minutes. Right. Holy freaking bleep.
Called me sir, though.
He called you sir? Well, he's a respectful cat.
Yeah,
is he not?
Old people respect sir.
When is it? I've always wondered. My wife says she's a miss. The Miss Ma'am vibe. I've always gotten that. If you refer to a woman as ma'am, is that are you inferring that she is old? I wonder where the ladies sit at that.
That is so very interesting. You said that because within the last 2 or 3 days, coming from Washington D.C., which has a little south to it, Virginia and like that, it's yes, ma'am. I mean, I've said ma'am. And I've said other things that aren't necessarily said a ton in this part of the country all my life. Yeah. So not necessarily with ma'am, but there's somebody, there's an acquaintance of mine who dramatically younger than me, but that would make up a majority of the world. Let's say 20-ish, 20-some odd years younger than me. Mm-hmm. And say it's her last name is Nordquist.
Okay.
So I would say Miss Nordquist. Yeah. Miss Nordquist, something like that as introducing or whatever. I was asked to stop because the person felt it diminished. How am I going to put this? Because I don't want to say what profession they're in. It diminished who they were in that profession. And it was kind of like a tap the hand on the head. This is this person.
You were almost belittling or talking down or in some way, certainly inadvertently and unintentionally, you were condescending.
It's a 10 of 10.
Wow.
No.
That was not your purpose, right?
10 of 10. So can you imagine if you looked at it that way from a branding standpoint? And can
you hit me with juice box?
Can you please not call me Stink? I mean, I'm trying to grow this Twitter following. I'm 3 years into this job, trying to find my verbal metaphorical feet. Can you please not call me Juice Box or Stink or the Con or Mad Producer?
Stink's the only one that I've ever actually said. I mean, we probably don't need to do Stink.
Yeah. I know, but I mean, okay, Mad Producer.
I'm comfortable enough in myself, in my life. You can call me whatever you want.
Right, but I mean, this is also publicly. Right,
sure.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
But can you even see, this is somebody, let's say it's in the marketing world or the, where attention will come to the business, the entity, the person or whatever. Well, that's the exact same thing here. I mean, we work for iHeart Audio, FM 100.3 KFAN. We're on microphones. So therefore, when we go back and forth, teasing or not, repetitively over the course of time, the Con, okay, for a fantasy basketball name, but it's not. Or if I called you Mr. Nordquist, do you think that would diminish what you're trying to accomplish on some form of microphone related ascension?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
But I think
I don't get it.
But outside of and I call you the human cartoon.
Right.
I mean but that's out of love, right? I mean, it's also PA, it's the Vox.
Well, Tom West with the Minnesota Vikings gave me the nickname Vox 15, 16, 17 years ago. Vox means voice of the people. I'm obviously not voice of the people, but that's I look at it as a cool nickname, actually.
Yeah, and actually, I think I threw you for a loop a couple of years ago just by referring to you as Paul.
Yeah.
When would I call you Paul under any circumstances?
See, that's one of many things I like about the behind-the-scenes, calmer, no cameras, no microphones version of Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson has never called me PA. I don't even think he knows that I'm branded PA.
Right.
Like PA in Dubé or PA in the Con or PA in Mad Producer. He calls me nothing but Paul. I like that. It's no, I mean, part of it, I guess, maybe he doesn't even know there's a radio show that has a PA in the title or whatever. Maybe we can fix that, but.
We work in a unique universe, though. Mm-hmm. I think there are other aspects of life. We have to acknowledge it, and I acknowledge that I just have no experience or relation to it. The idea where titles matter, that
there we go.
Whether it's an education standpoint, it matters that because these people put a lot of work in. They got a pretty cool name on that business card.
Thank you, and the social media handles.
I think in different arenas, because this is an adult daycare, effectively what we get to thrive in, and we have a lot of fun with it. But I think
for sure.
In other areas, maybe it matters. Now, I think that context and you were referencing a specific situation. Maybe we can all take a breath.
Yeah.
But I've always
That's how I looked at it.
So I don't know if it's ma'am. I don't know if it's miss in summation. I'm a miss guy.
Right. No, but I think that's fine in all circumstances, but it also dovetails, or there are tentacles to this from something that we've brought up in the past. We haven't talked about it in a while. It's not like we get all wound up over that, or, really a lot of things that wind up people these days, but nicknames in sports. I mean, if you really want to sit back and think about generationally speaking, I mean, Herman Ruth. Who's Herman Ruth?
Babe.
That's Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
One of the most iconic names in the history of sports, but in the history of nicknames.
Oh, yeah.
Joltin' Joe, DiMaggio.
Yeah.
The Snake, Kenny the Snake Stabler, the Purple People Eaters, the Steel Curtain.
Oh, yeah.
Pittsburgh Steelers defensive line.
Identity and aura.
By the way, on that, Joe Green. Oh, I mean, Mean Joe Green.
Right.
I just, that never happens, transpires, or develops anymore.
No.
And it has to be, because if somebody tries, well, first and foremost, this generation probably won't try to get it going in the first place.
Maybe not.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because they just, I don't want to deal with it. What if so-and-so doesn't like it? Mm-hmm. Well, that's why you run it by them. And if they don't like it, then you don't do it. But I just think...
But it's dollars and marketing and things like
that. Has a
that.
lot to do with it, right?
Yeah.
It's that social media feel and reach where... And I use the same reference pretty much every time. I guess I could use Tom Brady too, but Patrick Mahomes does not have a nickname. That's, if Fran the Man on the Fan, Fran Tarkenton, Kenny the Snake Stabler, Roger the Dodger Staubach, so on and so on. It's usually the best of the best. Air Jordan, the great one, Wayne Gretzky. So why were those generations with those immortality type players and coaches?
Yeah.
Bum Phillips. Well, why were they stupid and we're not? And this generation isn't.
I don't know. It's a good question.
So, in the formative years off which a lot of people pull reference and things like that, well, why are they off? Why were they off? Why was it acceptable then, but it's not now?
I think every generation believes that they have evolved beyond the one that precedes them. Mm-hmm. That's probably what it is.
I'd go to the other side, and I would think this generation's too tight. It lacks self-awareness, is too wrapped up in the social media handles and branding and things like that. And like Patrick Mahomes, you put an illiterate nickname on him. Well, if it doesn't come with $15 million of an endorsement, then the Voxes aren't going to say it on the radio, TV, or in print. You know what I mean?
I wholeheartly agree with you on that. However, in some ways, you're old balls now. We effectively both are. Where it's that's
old balls.
That's back in my day.
That's a nickname we can put over there.
That's not my backyard.
And we could probably 86 that one.
And to that end, by the way, there's probably a company that was, I'm thinking voice of the Vikings, Paul Allen. It'd be great if he got the opportunity to create a relationship and represent our product. Mm-hmm. Well, now they heard your nickname's Old Balls, they're out.
Well, unless it's Cheese Balls.
And the proof comes through. Oh, how about that? Well,
yeah, so
but they're not old. They stay fresh.
There's always a route of attack. Well, now you just said I don't stay fresh. Honestly, do I need to put my palms to the sky right now and publicly thank God for even an opportunity to call more than one game in my life? Or do radio shows or race calls? Holy cow, this ain't happenstance, brother. This ain't happenstance.
How would it go? You got, what, 250,000, 300,000 people listening to a Vikings game or something like that. I don't know what the number is. And Peaches, man, loving what I'm seeing on the field right now, OB.
OB's original baby.
So nicknames are tough. Nicknames are tough.
Nicknames can be tough.
Can be.
A lot of things can be tough unless people actually think about it, work at it, and don't become so preoccupied in what's right in front of them.
Just take a breath.
People are afraid to take chances these days, man.
I agree with that.
All right, we'll be right back.
up? It's News de Nord. News de Nord is brought to you by the casino, not a casino. I need you to feel the is carrying a lot of weight here. It is the casino at Canterbury Park. Poker, blackjack, table games, feeling the felt all day, every day, all year, and having sips of chips. And then this is also the final week, I believe, of live racing at Canterbury Park for the 2025 season. So you can, of course, get down to Canterbury and help wish everybody off into a tremendous off season, play a little cards. And then on Thursday, are you kidding me? Check this out. The Pro Football Pick'em Challenge is a weekly affair on Thursdays at Canterbury Park from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. You just make your picks of the football games that weekend, and you're going to get weekly prizes, so a little walking around money while you're doubling down at the $10 blackjack table. Then at the end of the season, one winner will get free fuel for a year from Quick Trip. So that circular word salad-esque bit that I just offered you, here's the key. It's a Canterbury Park in Shakopee, and it's the best spot in Shakopee to go. So CanterburyPark.com. Couple of baseball bits here, truncated News to Nord style, Vox of all Voxes, ever to Voxes. Next segment.
Let's see what you got here, because I jotted something down for that miscellaneous 1020, and then Faber called.
Oh yeah,
but I was gonna hit you and or Parker with something. Go ahead.
Oh sweet. Well, Twins, after shutting out the Yankees 2 days ago, 7 rip. Zebby Matthews kind of brought things back into perspective as he allowed 9 through 3 innings, and the Yankees win 10-9 in totality yesterday.
10-9?
10-9 was the final score.
Oh, yeah. Wow. It was 10-3 when I stopped watching.
Well, I think they had some bullpen issues. I can just scroll down. Yeah, it's Yarbrough. Yep. He gave up 4.
Oh, Ryan, I think the former Ray.
Hold on here. Let me just, I got to say the name correctly. This is tough. Might require.
Spell it.
Schlittler.
Oh, yeah. Schlittler.
You got to say that carefully.
Yeah, I ain't trying to go bonus, on minor league systems around the league. Pretty sure he's their top prospect. They dusted him off this year. He's very young. And they had a chance to really blow him out of the game early, but they couldn't close on it. But he's super gifted.
Absolutely.
Schlittler.
Now I feel comfortable saying it on the radio.
Yeah.
The baseball news that should be hitting everybody. You've been, low key. You were kind of, you were deep into the big dumper before anybody else.
Oh, Cal Raleigh.
Are you kidding me?
There are 2 league-wide stories that I think bear mentioning on shows like this and News du Nord, Sports Essentials, Sports Updates, all around. I had forgotten that one, but I got another one for you.
Well, Cal Raleigh, one of the great switch hitters now in baseball history, as he hit his 55th homer of the season in the second inning last night against the Royals.
And he's a catcher.
And he passed Mickey Mantle with the 55 home runs. That record, by the way, for switchers had stood since 1961.
You gave a nickname.
Then Raleigh hits his 56th in the next inning.
Oh, geez.
Which matches what Griffey did in 1997. I think Griffey did it in 97 and at least one more time. Could have been the next year or 99. Somewhere in that area, he did it twice.
Remember how cool Ken Griffey Jr. was when he was with, it was the Mariners, and he was with the Reds too, right?
He is the reason I wore a backwards hat as a kid. And I'm sure that's not the genesis of the backwards hat.
Climbing up the walls like Spider-Man and everything.
Absolutely, when he played, but just even seeing him in batting practice with the cap turned around, big smile, that big freaking swing that I can't speak for everyone. I tried to emulate in the 90s as a little kid.
Well, yeah, I would.
Griffey was amazing.
Think about it, man. Think about what adding sports updates to MTV did for your life. Rochi knows that we're calling 1105, 1107. He's good.
Oh, sweet. The only other thing for you, this is totally not even sports related.
Oh, wait, let me, Cal Raleigh, okay?
Yeah, big dumper.
And I'm pretty, so that's.
I just want to keep saying that.
That's fantastic. How about this? Shohei Ohtani. It's now he plays for the LA Dodgers.
Yeah.
So, I remember you used to say something that really resonated with me about Mike Trout. Before 18 injuries, it would just, he never hits home runs anymore.
But just that you can't find Mike Trout.
Yeah. Right, to watch it on a nightly basis. Okay, so.
They can't market their stars effectively.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I can. Get the extra innings package. Okay, well, some people don't want to pay the $1 whatever for the extra innings.
Correct.
So therefore, you got that. And he's the secondary team in a market with probably the first or second most popular team in the Southland,
right.
The LA Dodgers. LA Lakers would most likely.
number one, yeah.
Right. So Shohei Ohtani is not that. Okay, he's with the Dodgers, gets a lot of polarizing comments, and there was the interpreter who had the gambling bit, and he was on the wrong side of bad news there.
Yep.
But Shohei Ohtani, people can get updates on him all the time. He gets covenant claps. Last night, he pitched 5. Now he's pitching again, for those who don't know, and they've ramped him up 2 innings, 3 innings. Well, now they're stretching him out. Why are they stretching him out? Because the postseason is approaching, okay? Right. Last night, he pitched 5 hitless innings and hit his 50th home run. Yeah. That's covenant claps right there, bro.
And that's
seriously.
It's 162 games. It's streaming contracts. It's all kinds of, again, money and dollars and lawyers kind of dominate a lot of different things that we happen to put in front of us from an entertainment and sports perspective. The fact that Ohtani's games are not readily available to the entire sports-loving public every single time.
Yeah.
I think if you're trying to make money for Major League Baseball, that's got to be frustrating. Like, how do we open up this platform? And he's big in LA, and LA's got plenty of cash, and everyone's getting rich. I get that. But for a fan in the cornfields, you'd want them to be able to see
market it.
What is one of the most unique, unicorn-like, maybe could go down as effectively the best player ever to do what he's doing from the mound and at the plate.
Well said.
Yeah.
That's News du Nord, courtesy of Canterbury Park, CanterburyPark.com. We race this afternoon, 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock racing today and tomorrow. And then Saturday is closing day, 4 o'clock racing Saturday. Come say hello to us. And the Steam team will greet you nicely and treat you well. When we return, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to U.S. Bank Stadium is on KFAN.
This is Julian Edelman from Games with Names. Football is back. That means it's tailgate time, and this season the only meat I'm going to grill is Dietz and Watson. I'm loving the Black Angus Dietz dogs. They're flavor packed, and you can tell they are made with the highest quality ingredients. Sundays just got a whole lot better. Visit DietzandWatson.com/therightway to learn more about the Dietz difference.
Thursday Night Football is on, and it's only on Prime Video.
In for the touchdown.
This Thursday, an AFC East rivalry ignites as the Miami Dolphins battle the Buffalo Bills in a heated division showdown.
Boom, right on the money.
Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Eastern with football's best party, TNF Tonight, presented by Verizon. Not a Prime member? Not a problem. Simply sign up for a 30-day free trial today. It's the Dolphins and the Bills, Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern, only on Prime Video. Restrictions apply. See Amazon.com/Amazon Prime for details.